Mr. Hatt, thank you so much for being with us today. Before we jump into the conversation about the Game of the Future 2026, I'd like to ask some questions, since this is a relatively new type of the game that been introduced. So how are the standards evolving in the phygital space? Are there global benchmarks being introduced or adopted?
First and all, foremost, please allow me to say thank you for the opportunity to be here and talk a little bit about Games of the Future in Kazakhstan, Astana 2026. To your question here, yes, certainly there are global standards developed, not even being developed, but there are global standards already in place. So regardless of which of the sports that we are touching within Games of the Future in 26, you will have very specific metrics and very specific scoring systems in place.
Right, and talking about the challenges, using those metrics, this is going to be pretty hard. So how do you ensure both physical components and digital components are balanced in the gameplay?
Exactly. So let's say the groundbreaking rule as such for this is it's pretty much a 50-50 balance. So that means that you will have a sport, and let's say 50% of that time is dedicated to either or. That means either the physical component, or the digital component. And henceforth, you will have this balance of time being allocated on a 50% basis. Now that said, it is not all sports that will have a component of both the physical and the digital. There will be sports that will pretty much also only be on the digital side of things.
Let's say about people of Astana would be hosting this beautiful event, how they should prepare themselves for the game. Because this is a very specific one, because following up to physical game and then the digital one, you have to be ready and prepared to the specific of the game.
Exactly. So the way this works is that which is different to the traditional sports. So we do not work like where you have, let's say in Kazakhstan, you would have a national federation for a sport. And then you would have the international federation for the sport. This is not the way we work. We work with clubs, and we work with individuals, individual people. So that means that not just in Kazakhstan or in Astana for that matter, but literally around the world, we will have, as we speak, clubs and individuals preparing for Games of the Future 2026 in Astana.
Okay, can you elaborate on those clubs, what they should do, or maybe educate people, maybe do some marketing stuff in terms to promote this event?
So again, as we have almost 100 members within what we call the World Phygital Community, so each of these communities will, in their own country, develop the different sports, and through a qualifying system, again coming back to your question from before, are there matrices in place, are there systems in place? Certainly there are very strict measures in place, and by that these countries will participate in qualifications, and hopefully they will also by the end actually attend the Games of the Future in Astana next year.
Right. How will the Game of the Future 2026 differ from the others?
So let me start by the obvious. Every year, because this is an annual event, so every year we will have Games of the Future in a new place. So that alone is, let's say, a different feeling, a different ambience, a different atmosphere coming to a new location. And this is also something that our athletes is very much appreciative of, because they say, oh, we're going to go to Kazakhstan, we're going to go to Astana. I heard a lot of good things about that. And now I finally have the opportunity and chance actually to come to Kazakhstan and come to Astana. But in practical terms, one of the things that we are going to introduce is the let's call it the city of the future, which is a concept that takes place as a exhibition on a show floor, and that takes place during the Games of the Future. And the city of the future is a principle where, and in particular with Kazakhstan, that is so much on the forefront of technology within artificial intelligence and technology as such, having supercomputers in the region and things like this. So this would be a space where people could be familiarized and they could learn a lot of the things that also is happening within that sphere in Kazakhstan.
Right. What impact the Game of the Future will have on Kazakhstan and general Central Asia?
So when you look at Games of the Future and the sports that are involved within the Games of the Future, or let me take a step back, because when you look at the more classical traditional sports, right, and you see the age group within that, and especially the people watching the classical traditional sports, is quite high.
Yeah.
Opposed to the young children or the younger generation, because they sit with their iPhones, they sit with their PlayStations, and they're fast consumers of what is going on. And this is exactly also what we do. So we have tailored again the format of the games so it actually caters and speaks to a young audience. So that means that in the case of Kazakhstan and Astana, you will have the possibility of engaging the young audience and the more mature audience, whereby we actually see we meet the need, because we identified that there is an unmet need from, let's say, the pure digital side, the PlayStation side of it, and the more classical side of it, but actually where you can go and combine those two. Let me give you an example. My own son back home, he's a vivid gamer. He's 10 years old. He's a vivid gamer, and sometimes, unfortunately, I can see that both ice hockey and judo, they lose a little bit to the PlayStation. But now, as an ice hockey nation as well as Kazakhstan really is, now he can actually do both. He can play the virtual side of ice hockey, while at the same time actually jump into the equipment and then go and play on the ice.
It's sort of connecting Gen Z with alpha people and millennials, maybe?
Yeah, no, for sure. So there is this possibility of developing and also getting the younger population more active. Because if you look at it on a global scale, if you see all the, let's say, healthcare issues that we face every day with obesity and diabetes and heart diseases, right, and things like this, and unfortunately a lot of that comes from people not eating in the right way, and also people not exercising enough.
Not having the physical activities.
Exactly. So in this case, where actually you have the possibility of sitting and doing the esports side of things, and then mirror the same into the physical part.
What are your expectations from Kazakhstan in terms of athlete development, audience engagement, and the legacy? So
what I have already seen now in the time that I have been here in Kazakhstan and the meeting I've had here in Astana, and also what the initiatives from the highest level in your country coming from the president that has embraced and endorsed the concept, which is really truly amazing, because also you will see small centers popping up around Kazakhstan with the Phygital concept. And that means that from an early age, from school to high school to university and post that life as well, people will have the possibility and ability to actually engage in this, and then throughout their lifespan, continue that travel.
As far as I understood, this is not your first trip to Astana, Kazakhstan. This time you came particularly with like mission to do the assessment. Are we ready? What needs to be done in order to host such a big international event?
So obviously there's a lot of logistics, and there's a lot of moving components in organizing such a big scale event like this really is.
Right.
But the good thing about it is I truly feel that by coming to Astana in Kazakhstan, in such a sport loving country where there's already so much top level infrastructure already in place. So talk about venues, we talk about transportation, we talk about hospitality, and certainly also, as I mentioned before, the investment that Kazakhstan and the leaders of Kazakhstan have put into putting Kazakhstan as a nation on the forefront within development of technologies. And this is simply just a perfect match.
Mm-hmm. Are there some challenges, like putting some, this Phygital requires some technologies like AR, VR. Do we have an agreement regarding this issue?
So I know for a fact that via our partner here, Kazakh Sport and our good friends, that they are already developing those partnerships on a countrywide scale.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, yes, we need to attract partners. We need to discuss with our colleagues here, and we already had a number of good meetings this morning with different key players in this.
What mostly excites you about the Games of the Future in Astana?
I would say it's gratifying to come to a country like Kazakhstan and the city of Astana and feel so much at home, and to sit and talk to people and listen to their aspiration and their eagerness and their willingness to embrace what this is really about. Mm-hmm. And I also have to say that actually from the very beginning of Games of the Future and the whole concept where you mirror the digital with the physical part, Kazakhstan was, from the get-go, they were at the forefront. Mm-hmm. We saw that at the inaugural event. We see that here in 25 as well, what is already going on here in terms of the qualifiers and developing the whole community, their athletes, preparation, building the different centers across the nation, implemented into schools and universities. So I would say it's actually quite a massive undertaking that Kazakhstan have entered into, and this is really, really good.
Right, you already mentioned earlier about the aha moment, about the importance of the improving, developing such kind of sport. But can you share the moment that you realized the potential of Phygital as a game changer?
I think I can say that it is when you really, as I think I said in the beginning here, when you have the more traditional sport, and you sit and say, yeah, but what about that generation that do not necessarily want to put on your football shoes, but they sit at home and they do the gaming.
They're too distracted with the digital equipment.
Exactly. Right? It's so easy to jump on a phone or play a game or whatever it is. It's so. I think the aha moment actually came when we were sitting and saying, how can we combine those two? And then this concept came up where we say we need to develop a new system, not to overtake the already existing system, but as a complement in parallel to, where actually you do combine those two systems.
Is there a roadmap for Olympic or global federation?
So we don't have an aspiration of being part of the Olympics. We do not.
Why not?
Because we have our own system in place. Because the Olympics, they very much operate within, let's say, the classical space. And that was what I was mentioning before. They have their NOCs, they have the national federations in whatever sport it is, and then they have the international federations, and then out of that, every 4 years comes the Olympic, summer or winter. Where in our case, we have just about 100 member clubs around the world, and every day it increases. We have applications coming in saying we want to be part of the Phygital community and this movement that we are embarking on. So no, we do not want to be, let's say, the new Olympics, but certainly in terms of scale and volume, we will be there. That's absolutely that's crystal clear.
Okay, and my last question. So, what is your long-term vision for the Phygital sports, actually, globally?
So, Games of the Future, that's an annual event, and that's clear. It's going to stay like this moving forward. We want to see more and more members coming on board with the thinking, with the approach, and we want, of course, to develop the idea about the Phygital movement. So when people, they say Phygital in school, they know what it is, and then they start exercising, they start playing. So there's so much that can be done because it goes hand in hand. It goes in the direction of, yes, you can do the physical sport and you can do the digital sport, but there's so many things in between. One thing is the athletes. Yeah. What about the referees? What about press and media? That's also a complete new space for them to absorb and get their head around and say, hey, what is this really?
Yeah.
Physicians, medical doctors, there's so many things that goes into this development of technologies where Kazakhstan is so much at the forefront of this. So long term, continue the very, very positive development that we do see, and the extremely high uptake of new members basically every week. So this is, in all modesty, what we would like to do.
Mr. Hatt, thank you so much for such a meaningful conversation.